What's happening, everybody? San Francisco 49ers destroy the Jacksonville Jaguars 30-10. Niners 5-5 now. Playoff aspirations just got very serious for these San Francisco 49ers in 2011 with 7 games to play. Takeaways, key plays, key players, and game balls, of course. Croc and I, we're giving out game balls for week 11. Let's do this. Locked On 49ers live on YouTube. What's up, everybody out there? Let's go. Locked On 49ers.
You are Locked On 49ers, your daily San Francisco 49ers podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to Locked On 49ers. We are officially live on YouTube. Shout out to everybody out there watching us right now on YouTube. And I know those numbers are going to grow. Subscribe if you have not. Go find us on YouTube. Brian Peacock and Eric Crocker at BD Peacock at Eric_Crocker. And as always, holler out to all those folks that just listen audio. If you're just driving into your car on Monday morning listening, you don't care about the YouTube live. That's okay too, because that's who we've been talking to for years now on Locked On 49ers. But we've got the YouTube channel locked and loaded here. And I'm super excited to bust this out for those folks. We have a live show here, and I see you already jumping in on the chat. I love this. And after this episode of Locked On 49ers, stick around because we're going to do our normal episode here. Then we're going to jump on the chat and just hang out for a while. An hour, 2 hours, 3 hours. I don't know. I cracked open my beer, a local brewery here, a Bike Dog Brewing in Sacramento, Zero Sum Pale Ale. So I'm going to be sipping on that. And we can go all night. We can go 49ers after dark as long as we need to on this episode of Locked On 49ers because I'm pumped up. Croc, I know you're pumped up after this 49ers win. Niners handling their business in Jacksonville 32-10, right?
30-10, right?
Sorry, 30. What, did I give the 49ers some more points? I thought they made a...
Yeah, you gave them a
30-10 was the final, yes.
Really excited about that. I mean, at the end of the day, these are some of the toughest games, the games where you're supposed to win, but, there are, different circumstances that even, going to this game, traveling across the country, being on the road, 10 a.m. start time, local time for the San Francisco 49ers. So, really, really good win, especially one that you are supposed to have. And I think this is one of the first games, well, back-to-back games now of showing dominance, but the first game dominating a team that you head into the game saying like, oh, we're going to dominate this game. We have to dominate this team. It's a team you should, be able to impose your will on. The 49ers did that from start to finish.
Yeah, the biggest takeaway for me to start this whole thing, and we talked about it on our Friday episode, our keys to victory, is the 49ers handling their business. The Niners are better than the Jaguars. They have no business hanging with the 49ers. The 49ers rolled in, and look, East Coast, maybe the weather isn't ideal, some humidity the 49ers might not be used to, a long flight, 3,000 miles, you show up, maybe some jet lag, things don't feel right. The Niners show up, they're like, we're the better team, we're going to bully you. And to me, this goes back to last week. And I think that was the biggest thing about the Rams win on Monday Night Football. They showed themselves, they showed the world, they showed the primetime national landscape that are, everyone's watching this football game. They found an identity. The 49ers found an identity. They played to that same identity again against the Jaguars. They're bullies. They can beat you. They know they're better than you. Kyle Shanahan's deciding whether or not to kick a field goal or go for it on fourth down. It doesn't matter. Kick a field goal in the first quarter, score a touchdown in the second half. It didn't matter because you're a better football team, right? They went out there and bullied the 49ers. None of it mattered. You go 3 and out. Nope. Guess what? It's not 3 and out because there was a penalty and you still have the football. We're going to go 20 plays and go 13 minutes and we're going to score on you. It doesn't matter. You're a better football team. It almost doesn't matter what you do at that point. And the 49ers showed that because they're bullying the Jacksonville Jaguars play in and play out just like they did last week against the Rams.
Yeah, there were some things that, kind of really jumped out to me right away. And one of the things you talked about, third downs, maybe the 49ers supposed to be getting off the field. And it was the Jaguars. I know I'm saying that wrong. Jaguars.
It's the Jaguars. If you're
Jaguars,
I've seen the Jaguar car commercials. It's Jaguar. they say it, I think, in the UK sometimes. Jaguars isn't correct. If you want to sound like a gringo, you say Jaguars, Croc. It's Jaguars. Let's go Jaguars.
All right, so the Jags, they did what the 49ers have done, early in the season, where, hey, you're supposed to be getting off the field. Nope, there's a penalty, and they kept drives going early on. I think that really helped. I think more than anything, the real key to victory, and we talked about 49ers finding that identity, and we've been searching for it, like, what are they going to be? What are they going to be? I think the thing I've seen them do the best, especially over the last 2 weeks, which has been them establishing their identity, not turning the ball over. Like on the offensive side of the ball, like that's been the key. That's been the biggest thing. They are not shooting themselves in the foot, and they have limited the penalties. Penalties were a huge issue with the 49ers. I mean, we saw it even if you go back to the Cardinals game with Trey Lance starting at quarterback. I mean, how many offensive holding calls did they have? How many different times did they do things to kind of really hurt themselves? And watching them against the Rams, watching them against the Jaguars, that's one area where they have been much improved. It's not shooting themselves in the foot with penalties or turnovers.
It's so huge. Penalties and turnovers is a big one. And it's in some ways it's comical to watch another team go through that. And it's like, oh man, shooting themselves in the foot. Oh, look, this drive should be over. Guess what? It's not, because there's another team that's screwing themselves, and it's not the 49ers. And the 49ers went through some things. And it's funny because even when early on in the game, so the 49ers, let's start at the beginning. The 49ers go on this 20-play, 13-minute drive. More plays and more minutes even than last week, and that drive was ridiculously long that the 49ers went on in the first quarter when they beat the Rams. 4th and 1 at the 3-yard line. Were you blown away that Kyle Shanahan didn't go for it? In the end, it didn't matter. It didn't matter. They could have gone for it, not gotten it. They could have gone for it, gotten the touchdown. They ended up kicking the field goal. That's fine. You get 3 points. In the end, they were so much better than the Jaguars. It didn't end up mattering. But I didn't like starting off passive. You go through this long drive. It's like, let's step on their throat early. And it didn't matter. But I didn't love the decision early. Then later on, it almost felt like Kyle Shanahan got like a little bit of extra confidence. Like, oh, it doesn't matter anymore. So now we'll go for it. I think early is when he needed to go for it. Right? I don't know. That's the way I felt about it.
Yeah. So we've seen this in back-to-back weeks, right? I called it out before halftime of the Rams game where they had an opportunity to call a timeout and, save some time and be able to like, hey, we're going to put together a drive. We're going to step on their throats. And obviously, again, 49ers didn't need it. But I don't look at it in the sense of like that game, like that situation. I look at it from like the mindset standpoint, right? If you're Andy Reid, like what does Andy Reid do in this situation? We watched him against the 49ers in the Super Bowl go for it several times on 4th down. Like it's a mindset thing. So I just thought it was a little weird last week. And I'm like, that's interesting. Kyle didn't go for it. But then, like you said, up double digits late in the game, 4th and 7, they go for it from dang near midfield, get it, and not only get it, they score a touchdown. I'm like, gosh, that's odd. Like just the thought process, right? And then you have this game where 49ers have a 20-play drive, and he elects to kick a field goal. And again, I was just the thought process on that. And people, they gave me a hard time on Twitter because I talked about it. But my thing is, like, are you aggressive or are you not? And a lot of people are like, well, the 49ers got 3 points out of it. You don't want to, not get any points out of this long drive. And my thing is like, hey, if you don't get it, then the Jags quarterback rookie quarterback, who they've been struggling offensively, has to drive 97 yards. I think you have a much better chance scoring a touchdown there than you do Trevor Lawrence driving the field and scoring a touchdown. So to me, it was like, okay, like I thought that was a little strange. And then again, later in the game, same situation. He goes for the touchdown and gets it. And it's just like, is there a bit of a kind of a front runner mentality going on with Kyle Shanahan where when it's tight, his cheeks get a little tight and he's like, and he kind of panics and like, I'm just going to go the passive way. But then when he's up, it's like, oh yeah, like I'm that guy right now. Let me just go for it. And obviously they score. But my thing is like, be that guy all the time. Because right now with the team trying to find their identity, I think that's part of it. Now, I don't know how much he trusts Jimmy Garoppolo maybe in those situations. I don't know. Like early on to set the tone, but maybe that has something to do with it. Obviously, Jimmy did miss a wide open Jeff Wilson right there, and he's thinking like, I don't want something like some weird things that happen, but I don't know, like what's the mindset? And I like how the results of the game and everything, but those are just things I pay attention to because, yeah, you're up big against the Rams, doesn't matter. You're up big against the Jags eventually, so it doesn't matter. But it's just something I'm keeping an eye on.
All right. Tight cheeks. I'm glad we didn't talk about the cheeks of Alex Mack and this one getting too sweaty in that humidity in Jacksonville. 49ers with a big win, 30-10. So many more takeaways. I want to talk about a couple of things. One of those with Jimmy Garoppolo maybe missing a target at the beginning of the game there, right before that field goal in the first quarter. How he played. Some other takeaways. Deebo Samuel continuing to do what he does. RB Deebo. I mean, this is getting kind of crazy what Deebo Samuel is doing. Both as a runner and a receiver. Of course, we'll give out some game balls on this episode of Locked On 49ers coming up. But first, I want to tell the folks out there about DirectTV Stream. Does this sound familiar? You've got one device that lets you catch the game. You've got to log in from like your sister's neighbor's girlfriend, and you're watching this, then you're watching highlights over here. You got your phone, you're logged into something else there. Well, look, I want to tell you about a simple way that you can get all that entertainment you love without all the BS, essentially, like no hassle. Just it's a great way to finally get your television together, and it's called DirectTV Stream. You guys know DirectTV. This is DirectTV Stream. It's the new era of DirectTV. It brings your live television and on-demand favorites together like never before. So you can watch your favorite sports, movies, and shows all in one place without juggling remotes. No need to buy another device ever again. And the best part, there's no annual contract. So get rid of the clutter and the confusion and get your TV together with DirectTV Stream. You can learn more at directtv.com. That's directtv.com. Compatible device required. Content varies by package. I see all you guys. There's so many people in the chat here. I love it so much. Thank you all for listening for all these years at Locked On 49ers. And I see so many familiar names here that I've chatted with on Twitter that are longtime listeners that are now jumping on with us here on YouTube, and it's fantastic. You love to see it, and we're going to do a huge Q&A. We'll hang out as long as you guys want to hang out here in the chat when this podcast is over. Croc, I want to talk about Jimmy G, and I want to talk about that throw in the first quarter. I feel like Jimmy Garoppolo, first of all, he's been playing awesome the last few weeks. I don't think that's deniable, even if you think he was off target on a few throws. The throw in the end zone on 3rd and 1 was it 2nd and 1? And then I think there was another run after that to Jeff Wilson in the first quarter. He missed Jeff Wilson on the shallow crossing route. Jeff Wilson slowed down a little bit. Look, it's bang, bang in there. He's trying to get the ball out of his hands quickly. Jimmy sees it flash open. He's looking to the left. He sees Wilson flash open on the shallow crosser to the right side. And I think Wilson sees that he's so wide open. He kind of slows down into hey, throw it to me. I'm so wide open. Jimmy sees it, thinks he's going to keep running. He misses him. You would like him to connect on that. You would like those guys to be on the same page and see that. I don't kill Jimmy for missing that throw in the end zone because his guys slowed down. He expected him to continue on the crosser. Am I wrong on that? Because
No.
Jimmy kind of got killed early in the game, especially on Twitter. People were freaking out, putting up the video. Look how terrible Jimmy Garoppolo is for missing this throw. I didn't see it that way.
No, I didn't see it that way. I just looked at it as just a miss. And again, those are things that might not be too impactful as the game goes on against the Jaguars. But, obviously, like moving forward, you want to be on the same page with your running back, Jeff Wilson. And, Jeff Wilson, too. He just got active, 2 weeks ago, got his first action, like real action last week. So, they still have to kind of continue to build that rapport as well and understand, what each other wants, when it comes to, catching the ball in the end zone or any other situation.
And look, overall, you're going to miss some throws. That one just stands out because of how wide open Jeff Wilson was, and it was in the end zone, and you end up with 3 points instead of a touchdown. But overall, Jimmy was pretty good. And at the end of the game, it was pretty much unnecessary to use anybody else, even though Trey Lance did step on the field there and handed the ball off, never attempted a pass. But 16 of 22 passing for Jimmy G, 176 yards. It wasn't a huge production. 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. That's the key thing for me with Jimmy the last few weeks. He's been seeing the field better in shotgun a lot. I think turning his back to the field is something that we're pretty obvious now is important to Jimmy Garoppolo, and that's been different in the 49ers offense. And he hasn't been throwing the ball to the other team. I think part of that under center with Jimmy and play action, turning his back, then looking back, he expects to see one thing, expects to see something there. And sometimes there's a linebacker, a rogue linebacker, maybe a safety that comes down, a robber, something he doesn't see, and he throws the ball to the other team. He hasn't been doing that. And it wasn't huge output, but I felt really good about Jimmy G. And it looks what I thought about Jimmy G in this game felt better than his 16 for 22, 176 yards, which doesn't seem like much, but he was rock solid. And they didn't need him to do that much because they were dominating on the defensive side of the ball. The Jacksonville could barely get a first down in this football game. It's pretty amazing the time of possession that the 49ers dominated on Sunday.
Yeah, I think ideally Kyle Shanahan would like to continue to play this brand of football where he is leaning more on the run game. Obviously, added Deebo Samuel to the run game into the mix, and he had almost 80 yards rushing, so that was awesome. I think 9.9 yards a clip. That was pretty cool to see. But lean on the run game and limit putting the ball in harm's way, whether it's Jimmy Garoppolo or other, a drop ball or a fumble or whatever the case might be. And ideally, you want to play every game like this where your defense is being dominant and you can lean on the run game. The last 2 weeks combined, the 49ers have ran the ball 86 times. I don't, that might be like a record for just a 2-game stretch of how many times you get to run the ball. I don't know if they'll be able to hold that, right? I mean, that seems like something that is kind of an outlier situation. So when Jimmy does have to throw the ball more, what will it start to look like from that standpoint? But I think, right now you can't worry about that. 49ers back-to-back weeks have done a really good job of, executing. And Jimmy Garoppolo has been a big part of that.
I appreciate everybody jumping on and watching us live, or maybe at the same time as you're watching. Hopefully the football game is muted on Sunday Night Football here with the Chargers and the Steelers. Apparently the Chargers DBs are getting cooked over Croc. The 49ers drafted a guy in the second round, and the Chargers have a guy in the second round in Asante Samuel Jr. that a lot of 49ers fans wanted. We are not going to talk about that Chargers game, but I just wanted to throw that out there. Croc, I don't know if you can corroborate that. Are the Chargers DBs getting cooked right now? I'm a little bit worried about Brandon Staley's defense because he's a defensive guy. Why aren't the Chargers? Well, the Chargers defense is what's killing him right now, right?
Yeah, and they have the playmakers on that side of the ball. There was an opportunity for Derwin James to come down with an interception, and he did like this weird bobbled and foot drag thing, didn't get his foot down in bounds, but got to take advantage of those opportunities, and so far it kind of led to scores. But I haven't seen, I'm not watching the game now, so I don't know what's going on right now. But
another week, Croc, and actually I'm blown away that the Jacksonville Jaguars got to 21 minutes of time of possession in this game, because in the first half it was something like a minute and a half that the Jaguars had at one point. And this was in the second quarter of the game. It's crazy.
Four plays. They had ran 4 plays at that time.
Insane. They were able to hold the ball a little bit. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think the Jaguars by like a minute or less outdid the Rams last week as time of possession. I think it was 39. I think it was 39 minutes. The Niners held the ball last week. It was 38-22 this week. So congratulations, Jacksonville Jaguars. You did something that the Rams could not. What do you think about, here we go, Deebo Samuel obviously carrying the ball more as a running back than a wide receiver this week, and obviously he's doing amazing things. 8 carries, 79 yards, a touchdown. He had 1 catch for 15 yards. That's it on 2 targets. Brandon Ayuk was the big receiver for the 49ers in this game. 7 catches, 85 yards, and a touchdown. The George Kittle touchdown, I love seeing that. I love both of those throws actually in the end zone to Kittle, and especially Ayuk. Just seeing that break open and seeing Jimmy hit him as he broke open. I just feel like there's something flowing about the 49ers offense and a connection that Jimmy has with everybody that he hasn't had before. It's not even a Brandon Ayuk thing. It's a Jimmy with everybody thing. Are you reading that as well?
Yeah. And I think this is the type of, play from Jimmy Garoppolo that we were hoping to see all throughout the season, right? Like if Jimmy had played at this level, which obviously, I see some people in the chat saying, well, he's still missing throws. He's still doing this. And it's like, yeah, that's Jimmy Garoppolo. But if he can, at the very least, execute at a decent enough level to where, he is moving the ball, then I think it will lead to wins. Early on, the big issue was, you played against the Philadelphia Eagles and they had 3 straight 3-and-outs. You come out against the Seattle Seahawks, and I believe at one point, the 49ers, outside of that first drive, they just couldn't get anything going. And that was with the defense getting forcing 5 straight 3-and-outs. Against the Packers, the 49ers didn't score until Trey Lance came in as time was expiring and ran a goal line sweep or whatever it was. So I think right now we're seeing what we expected from Jimmy Garoppolo. And if he had played at this level, which again is not amazing, but he's playing solid football, he's playing good football. He played at this level, you wouldn't be hearing all the chatter about Trey Lance and when he's going to play and what, oh my gosh, and the panic that we had early on. Now it's just, again, can Jimmy Garoppolo be consistent with this? And so far over the last 4 weeks, it's looking like he can be.
There's been so much talk, especially started last week. It continues this week. Is Kyle Shanahan doing anything different to you, Croc? Is there is it a different groove? Is it was it the closed door meeting, you think, with the players? Are they playing different? There's a different vibe. Is it Shanahan? Is it the players taking accountability themselves? What's going on here? Because clearly there's a different confidence level, I think, with the 49ers. They're handling business, and they're more like that bully we saw in 2019, and they kind of sleptwalk through the first half of 2021.
Now, I really think just the biggest thing, especially with the offense, is not turning the ball over. Again, go back to the Arizona game. The offense was looking good early on, right? Like they were moving the ball. Jimmy made some throws, boom, fumble. Then they're moving the ball again. Jimmy makes a couple throws, and then boom, fumble near the end zone. So right now, the biggest thing is not shooting themselves in the foot. So what does that allow? Kyle Shanahan to be in more of a groove. Look at the Rams game as well. What was the biggest difference? It was the third down efficiency, which has been bad. But I think it's more so of just, hey, my players executed. Thank you. If you look at the film, you look at all 22, guys are open. It's just about executing. And right now, I guess we could put that on him because he is the coach and this is his offense, but we're just seeing better level of execution.
There's a couple of things that maybe I'm looking too far into it, but the announcers who do a ton of work and meet with all the coaches pre-game and do all this pre-production work for their broadcasts, they drop things that sometimes I'm like, wait a second. And you don't really hear it from the local media because they don't get that information or whatever. And maybe the broadcasters are kind of taking things out of context and taking them too far. But one thing that stood out, there's 2 things that stood out for me in this game that the broadcaster said. One was that Brandon Ayuk is their guy on versus man coverage. He's the best player versus man coverage and gets open. And I'm like, what? They talked about him like he was trash for the first 6 weeks of the season or something. Is he that good against man coverage? All of a sudden, it's such a strange situation. I know Kyle Shanahan talked about Ayuk and that he wasn't playing well or whatever it was in the preseason and in the offseason heading into the year. And then the second thing was them talk, and we heard it from the owner or the CEO. We heard it from Jed York earlier after the draft and during the summer. And when I heard it, I was like, yeah, whatever. But the announcers again talked about Jimmy Garoppolo in 2022. Like they're getting that from somewhere, right? Jimmy in 2022, and then Brandon Ayuk, the best receiver versus man coverage. What are your thoughts on those 2 things? Because those jumped out at me as like they got this from the 49ers coaching staff.
Yeah, and again, like you said, maybe they're taking it out of context. I mean, look back on what Jet York said in the offseason. Everybody took away from what he said was Trey Lance, we can go 2 years and not see Trey Lance. But they failed to mention the part where he was like, if Jimmy Garoppolo is playing at an MVP caliber level and taking it to the Super Bowl, then yeah, there could be a chance where Trey Lance gets to sit for a couple years. And obviously that had been relayed to Jet York. So yeah, I think there could be a little bit of context missing there. I think that Jimmy Garoppolo will have to play at a really high level that you feel like you 100% can't get from Trey Lance at no point next year. And right now, I think Jimmy Garoppolo, again, has been very efficient. I think if you have Trey Lance at quarterback, it will look different. But I don't think if he had kind of played throughout this whole time and went through some of his ups and downs, I don't think it would be too far off from what we've seen these last 2 games, which, again, has been efficient play from Jimmy Garoppolo, but not like earth-shattering, right? Like not like, oh, man, like we could not win this game without him. Like they ran the ball 86 times over the last couple games. So I think if you're still running that type of offense, then yeah, I think you can see a guy like Trey Lance in there. I don't think that's a reason to keep Jimmy Garoppolo for another year.
I can't see it. It's almost worrisome that they're trying to push that, and how clearly Kyle Shanahan doesn't want to get Trey Lance onto the field, and he waited probably a series or maybe 2 series longer than I expected to get Trey Lance on the field. Just slightly worrisome, something worth looking at. And look, if the 49ers are winning, it's not a big deal and nobody's worried about it. And right now, looking at the NFC, I think that's the tease for the next segment here before we get to the game balls, talking about the NFC, the playoff picture, the 49ers in the thick of it now at 500 at 5-5. The rookies for the 49ers, that 2021 rookie class, making an appearance. And yeah, of course, game balls coming up on this episode of Locked On 49ers. And stick around because we're going to keep doing the Q&A. If you're on YouTube, if you're on the audio version, yeah, we're going to do the normal pod, but the YouTube folks, we're going to hang out for a little bit, and it's going to be a lot of fun. And thanks everybody for showing up. I'm seeing so many people in the chat right now. It's awesome. How about this though? You know what else is awesome? Built Bar. They got new flavors, paranormal pumpkin. There's a mystery flavor. I don't know what's inside, but when I hover my mouse over the mystery flavor, there's chocolate on the outside. That's my favorite thing about Built Bars is it's 100% real chocolate. It's covered in 100% real chocolate. It's not some brown sugary substance. You know what I'm talking about. It's like fake chocolate. It's like, hey, this is good for you. It's fake chocolate. No, this is legitimate real chocolate. If you haven't tried Built Bar by now, you are missing out. It's a protein bar, but it does not taste like one. You have to try one of these amazing bars for yourself to believe it. Most protein bars are kind of chalky, waxy. They taste funny. They're hard to choke down. Built Bars aren't like that at all. It's a protein bar that tastes like a candy bar. It's covered in 100% real chocolate. And when you bite into it, you know you're eating something completely different. Brand new flavors throughout the month of November showing up all the time, like coconut almond, peanut butter brownies, one of my favorites. Blueberry muffin is actually one of the new flavors this month that I love. The brand newest that I haven't even tried yet, vanilla cream. 140 calories, 17 grams of protein, only 5 grams of sugar in the vanilla cream flavor of Built Bar. Low carb, low calorie, low fat, low sugar, high in protein, all the healthy goodness you're looking for in a delicious treat, and so many flavors. New flavors coming out all the time, every couple of days this month. Go to built.com, use promo code LOCKED15. Get 15% off your order. That is promo code LOCKED15 at built.com. I hope y'all made some money, by the way, on the 49ers. I really screwed up betting on this football game because not as far as the 49ers go, but in the survivor pool. It was between the Titans against the Texans and the Niners against the Jaguars. I was a little bit worried about maybe weather, maybe a letdown game for the 49ers. They hadn't impressed me at the beginning of the season. Got to be honest, 49ers fans, they did not. And going across the country, 3,000-mile trip, morning start, East Coast, Jacksonville. I thought, yeah, you know what? Titans at home. Let's go Titans in my Peacock and Williamson survivor pool. By the way, check out the Peacock and Williamson NFL show every day. I went with the Titans in the survivor pool, didn't go Niners, and I was eliminated because the Titans got rocked by the Texans. And the 49ers handled their business. I will not make that mistake again. But you can go bet on your 49ers to beat the Jaguars, to beat the Vikings, which is a huge game we're going to talk about in a second coming up next week. You can bet football, baseball, basketball, Thanksgiving. We all know what that means. Tons of football happening there. And BetOnline has you covered all season long. More props, more odds, and more lines than ever before. And oh yeah, if you head on over to BetOnline's new updated desktop, mobile website, sign up today and you can get your 50% welcome bonus with promo code Locked On. Not just football. We're talking pro and college hoops. Obviously, the Thanksgiving football is going to be fun next week. NHL, boxing, UFC, favorite Vegas casino games. Go to BetOnline. It's the fastest and easiest way to bet on all your favorite sports. BetOnline. We're stuffed. We're Thanksgiving stuffed with all of the deals for this Thanksgiving. Stuffed with odds, stuffed with props, stuffed with every line you can think of at betonline.ag. Promo code Locked On. All right, Crocky. Do you want to congratulate Aaron Banks, 49ers rookie second-round pick, for getting on the field, right?
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Oh,
Aaron Banks making an appearance. He jumped on the field with Trey Lance. Trey Sermon got some extended action. We saw both cornerbacks, Ambry Thomas and Diamador Lenore, on the field. Every 49ers rookie got action today except for Elijah Mitchell, who was hurt. So that's what you love to see. And look, it wasn't the normal course of action that these guys got on the field, but even better if it's a blowout win for the 49ers and they got all these rookies on the field. Aaron Banks, congratulations, young man.
yeah. Got to see Ambry Thomas, and I think out of all the rookies, that was the one I was most curious to see, what he looked like. And he got kind of picked on a little bit. Now, again, this is a time in the game where 49ers are playing a little softer coverage. They definitely don't want to get anything, they don't want to get hit behind them for a big chunk play. But he got hit with a whole shot where he was kind of the cover 2 corner and had to sink. And that was just like, gosh, like he just learned he had no chance. One thing about Ambry Thomas that I noticed when watching his film from college was he was better playing from the line of scrimmage and reading down route concepts from there. And having him have to play off in a situation like that again, you want to keep everything in front of you, just looked a little weird, looked a little funny. So definitely an area where you want to see him improve and see how he does that, going forward. But I don't know, just not. I'm not seeing it with Ambry Thomas yet. Like not even like the flashes. I'm not seeing like the flashes of, oh man, I like how he did that. Remember Kenneth Acker? Like Kenneth Acker, there were like
6th-round pick, right?
Yeah, something like that, right? Like they drafted him, Dante Johnson, and another corner the same year. At least with Acker, I saw like times where I'm like, you know what? I think he could be potentially a starting corner in the NFL. I'm not quite seeing that yet with Ambry Thomas, but obviously limited playing time.
And they went at him. That's what tells me that you might have a little bit of a problem because they brought in both rookie corners on the same series, and Diamador Lenore is on the other side, and he's playing off, and Ambry Thomas is playing off. It's late in the game. You got a big lead. You're playing off, right? You don't want your young rookies to get torched, and you don't want to give up a score. They didn't go after Demo. They didn't throw at him at all. They went boom, boom, boom 3 times in a row, and then went somewhere else, then came back again at Ambry Thomas. I think it was 4 out of the first 5 plays. I mean, that tells me something. That can't be a coincidence that they went straight after Ambry Thomas when he jumped into the game, right?
I think it can be somewhat of a coincidence. I mean, he's a guy who he hasn't been on the field, so they don't even have film on him at all, right? Like it's not like they're going back to the preseason and saying, all right, guys, there's this 3rd round corner, and if he gets in the game, no, they're not thinking about that. They're watching the last few games, and he's been nowhere in sight. So maybe they did target him at first, and you're like, you know what? We'll just keep going to the right side and see if we continue to get some action there, and they did.
We got to give out some game balls here, Croc. There's a ton that are worthy of game balls, I think, from the 49ers on this day. I'm going to start, though, with Nick Bosa. A couple of sacks, 10 sacks. He's matched his total from 2019, and he's got 7 games to go. We're going to see a big year here from Nick Bosa, sack-wise. And here's what's crazy about Nick Bosa is the sack numbers are great, and he's been really good. And I think maybe it's because he's missing his partners in crime in DeForest Buckner, and he does have Eric Armstead over there, but he's missing, healthier version of D Ford. I think Bosa could be even better and more impactful, yet he's still so good right now. And that's what's scary about Nick Bosa. I'm going to give Nick Bosa, just because of the 2 sacks, I'm going to give him a game ball here. And he's been good. And I know some people early in the game were tweeting out, hey, how come the Jaguars are throwing so much and the 49ers pass rush is not getting home? And almost as soon as I saw that tweet, Nick Bosa came in and got a sack, and then he got another sack. Arden Key, I think, has 4 quarterback hits out of 5 games. I think sacks in 3 games in a row. But Nick Bosa and Arden Key, the only sacks in this game. Nick Bosa is clearly one of the best defensive ends in football, and he's almost he's almost rolling solo at this point on the D line because he's not getting that much help from the rest of the group, and he's getting double teamed and chipped and held on almost every single snap.
I was going to say that his impact doesn't stop at the, just the pass rush and the sacks. It's the holding penalties that he's forcing as well. So, even on his sack today, it was like he was kind of getting like putting in like a headlock, like a chokehold, and he was able to kind of power through that and still get a sack. I thought his pursuit was tremendous to be able to run down a guy like Trevor Lawrence from the backside of the play. Just big time hustle. And I think he's the epitome of everything that you want from your defensive guys. And he's a guy that you can point to in the film room and say, hey, I need this type of effort from all of you, not just number 97.
We got to get out here. We're going a little bit long. Croc, what other game balls do you have? And by the way, everybody stick around on the live YouTube stream. If you're listening audio on Monday morning to this podcast and didn't realize that Croc and I are on YouTube, go check it out. Hit subscribe, hit the little thumbs up, and hit the bell and all the things you got to hit on YouTube, and be involved with us here on video as well. Croc, what do you got? You got any game balls in there from this game?
Yeah.
I know there's plenty of options to pick from.
Yeah, and you have all these options, you have all these players, but I'm actually going to go with a couple other guys, the coaches. The 49ers, we've been, critical of the coaching staff when it comes to, just like the discipline and things like that of the players. And this is back-to-back weeks now where the penalties haven't been an issue. The 49ers aren't turning the ball over. And I kind of was critical of them and just their like, hey, if you're not coaching it up, you're letting it happen. And so far in back-to-back games, the penalties really a non-issue, and also the turnovers not there. So and the 49ers defense taking the ball away. So big shout out to the coaches, because I think maybe they made some type of adjustment. I don't know, but obviously whatever they're doing the last couple of weeks has worked.
That's a great one. There's definitely something going on. This team is walking different. They're playing different, snap in and snap out. And I think winning cures a lot of ills, and I think it's just growing, and you can see it growing from player to player, and that's super important for the 49ers, and they're doing some pretty amazing things. I think Deebo Samuel is an interesting one. He caught one pass, but he's so impactful. He's gotten a game ball in almost every game this year for the 49ers for us, Croc. 8 carries, 79 yards. He's such an X factor, and he's so important, and I can't even really fully describe the value he brings to the 49ers, but there's something different about him right now. There's something special about it. He caught one pass, and he felt like such a huge impact in this game. And look, he carried the ball 8 times, so that's 9 touches, and Garoppolo only threw 16 passes, so he was nearly as important as the quarterback in this football game. But can you talk a little bit about Deebo Samuel? I'm giving him the game ball, but like what do you think it is that he really does to a defense? If you're playing on defense, like, you don't want to tackle him when you're a corner, right? And Croc, I know you're a former corner, and I know that you had hands like a wide receiver, and I know you tackled like a safety, and I know you were smart like a coach, but not every corner is like that, right? So it's like I feel like corners don't want to man up, and he's so able to get that edge because corners don't want to hit this dude.
Yeah, I think a big thing with him and just his performance from today was just the versatility, right? Like, and it's just a guy who, whatever you need, he's going to be able to do that and produce at a high level. So, in previous weeks, it's been the big plays, the run after catch and things like that. This game, it was like, hey, we're not even going to really utilize you in the passing game. We're just going to turn around and hand the ball off to you. And I think that does something to a defense, because they might be a little unsure of what type of personnel they need to have on the field. You look out there and you see, just a empty set. Because, coaches, there's a chess match. You look at the sideline when a certain guy, runs onto the field, you count their personnel, and then you make sure you have the right personnel to match up against that. But when you have a guy like Deebo Samuel, who is a receiver and lines up out wide, but then all of a sudden he's in the backfield and he's the main running back on that play. Now you got numbers in the run game, because now you probably have a nickel on the field, and you're able to kind of really be aggressive with that nickel, and it helps in the run game. And I think that's been very beneficial to the 49ers. They're like, man, every time we do this, we have numbers, and we got guys pulling. They're getting on those little cornerbacks instead of it being a linebacker, and it's been beneficial. So Deebo, he's hurting guys from a lot of different areas. And really, so far, MVP of the 49ers team. And I don't think it's close.
Yeah, and we're talking about league-wide accolades that should be coming toward Deebo Samuel when this season is over. It's pretty amazing what he's been doing. All right, we're going to cut it off there. There's so many other players we could give game balls to, but we've got to get out of here from the audio version of the podcast. Stick around if you're on YouTube, and we are going to continue to maybe even have some special guests here and hit your questions and just chat it up and have a little bit of 49ers after dark. If you haven't subscribed yet, go subscribe on the YouTube channel, subscribe on Apple and Spotify and everywhere else you can find this Locked On 49ers podcast. And thanks for making us your first listen, by the way, every single day. Croc and I will be back tomorrow, video and audio, right here. Locked On 49ers. Look at this. Who's this guy?
Hey, what's going on, guys?
Wink is on fire.
Ha! 49ers are on fire, baby.
Come on, down.
Yeah, we got a little wink action in here. Joining us on our kickoff episode on the YouTube channel.
The wink is on fire.
You know what? I'm pulling out all the stops here, Wink. I want you to tell us your favorite moment in this football game while I do a wardrobe change. Okay, I'm going to be right back. Wink, welcome to YouTube. Welcome to Locked On 49ers on YouTube. What are you stinking on today? I bet there's no stink in your Wink today.
Nah, there's no stink. If anything, I want to give out some love, man. I mean, Josh Norman, he's kind of gotten a bad rap this year. A lot of penalties on the guy, but he's also got 5 forced fumbles. He had another one today. That was a huge moment in this football game for the 49ers. That was fantastic. See my Lakin, out leading on a big run play. I mean, Tomlinson's looking good constantly. Trent Williams got to go out and try to make a catch. I mean, this was a great day. Yeah, 49er fan.
You could see the ball skills. Like he wanted to go make a one-hander on that, even though he had a guy underneath, the guy over the top, right? Croc, how do you cover a guy that big? I think they did a pretty good job on it.
They did a good job. And I would say, and I tweeted this out, I was like, good job by Jimmy Garoppolo throwing the ball away.
Yeah.
Because you had number 42 sink right underneath it. Everybody's saying, oh, he was double teamed. He wasn't double teamed initially. It was man-to-man coverage, but a guy dropped back at the last second and was able to get underneath that. And good thing Jimmy Garoppolo threw the ball higher. That would have been intercepted.
Yeah, it was a smart play.
Crocky, do you have any additional game balls to give to? I know some folks out there shouting out Lake and Tomlinson for you. Number 75 has been playing some really good ball for the 49ers.
Yeah, we touched on my guys. I had the coaches, I had Deebo, I had Bosa. So, and we touched on all 3 of those guys. But Jimmy Garoppolo, again.
Yeah.
And not because it's just like earth-shattering what he's doing, but just playing good quarterback. Listen, these 2 wins, don't screw it up. And I think he's doing a good job of that. He's not messing it up. He's not throwing He's not throwing the hospital balls we're used to seeing him throw, right? Where he's throwing those balls high over the middle and guys are getting their legs taken out. We haven't seen that. I don't know if it's as simple as just not throwing the ball a whole lot with him, but I'm liking what I'm seeing from him from an efficiency standpoint. He's doing a good job there.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned the hospital balls. I mean, Ayuk had a couple today. I mean, he made some great catches, took a hit immediately after. I mean, he had a great game out there. What do you have, 8 catches or something? Love that.
Yeah. And Ayuk, I mean, that's been the one guy that, they're saying he, doghouse and not doing this right, not doing that right. To be honest, man, he's been the same that we've always seen. But I guess whatever floats their boat, if it makes them feel better about him being in the doghouse and okay, we got the most out of him, but I don't see any difference aside from the fact that they're actually drawing up plays for him and they're targeting him.
And that's it. Yeah, Jimmy's throwing him the ball because before it's like, you're seeing the all 22s afterwards or something. You're like, Jimmy went left, but Ayuk was open right. Maybe he just wasn't looking his way because he wasn't performing well in practice, wasn't 100%, wasn't, practicing at 100%. Who knows what it is, but it's nice to see that opposite of Deebo, somebody to actually take a little pressure off of Deebo Samuel, who, one catch today, you guys said it, but made such a huge impact in every other aspect of the game. It was good. There, look at this guy.
Look at that.
What's up?
Wow.
Nice.
I got a little gear in the mail today. I don't know if everybody can see this here. Hold on, I got to fix my camera so everyone can see what's going on here.
Look at that.
I've got one of the few Crocker 41 jerseys that
it
exists.
Looks good, man. Looks good on you.
Feels good on me. I know this is a 49ers podcast, but yeah, I wanted to throw this on the pod because I think Croc deserved to get this love, and this 41 feels good. I feel fast right now wearing this. I feel like
you feel a lot faster than I felt today playing flag football.
Dude, tell me how that went. For those of you who don't know, I can't remember if we mentioned it on the pod or not, but Croc was out there playing a flag football tournament at 34 years old. I hope your Achilles and your hamstrings are intact, Croc.
They are intact. Now, my hip, on the other hand, I really feel like an old person having a bad hip. But, man, it's just hurting. And I gave up the game-winning touchdown in double overtime at the end. I didn't give up a catch all game long. All game, like they were like, hey, you guard this person. So first of all, everybody looks at it like, oh, former NFL player, like, he's a guy. Like, I am not that anymore. Okay. It's been 8 years or whatever since I was with the Jets. But still I have I'm like Richard Sherman now. The game is slowed down. I see the route concepts play out in front of me. And so I'm doing great. I'm shutting stuff down, not giving up any catches. I'm breaking up balls in the end zone. But I haven't been like training. So towards the end of the game, I'm like, okay, I'm starting to get gassed. So we go into overtime. And the guy I'm guarding, because they think I'm still 2013 Eric Crocker. Clearly I'm not. I mean, I'm running all the way across the field this way, that way. I mean, and like I'm gassed. So overtime happens. We got the ball first. We didn't score. So we had to stop the opposing team from scoring. So we stopped them. Boom. And I'm like, great. Let's get off the field. Like, I'm gassed. Then it's like, oh, wait, it's their turn again. And then it's our turn. And I'm like, oh, my gosh. So that whole second time that they had the ball, which there was no break, I was gassed. And then the guy I'm guarding, little white dude, looks like Hunter Renfrow. He's running like everything was like a what do they call it? Option route, especially when they got into the red zone. So then he starts to complain to the refs. Oh, he's touching me. Oh, he's grabbing me to the refs. Watch him on this play. So it's kind of taking me out of my game because now I'm like, okay, can't get hands on. And he's running option route. So he was either going to run like a slant or a whip route, like a slant and then an out. And they kept trying it. I was on it. And then he finally got me on the slant because I was trailing, thinking he was going to come back. And I didn't get any hands on him because I knew the refs were watching. So that was tough. One catch, gave up one catch the whole time.
Richard wants to know if you took any field goals. And by the way, were you wearing your Crocs in sport mode or did you have cleats on for this one?
I had cleats on. Felt like I had Crocs on, man. I'm running in sand now. But it motivated me. It's like, all right, Croc, like get back in shape. Like, just so you can hop out there and do something like that. That's the most running I've done in like a long time.
How about your 7-on-7 squad? Because you also coached a 7-on-7 game this weekend, right?
No, we had a turkey giveaway, turkey drive or whatever, giving out turkeys to families that need them or don't feel like paying for them.
That's good. Those are all good things. When do the 7-on-7 games start? Did you just start coaching this 7-on-7 squad?
Yeah, this is my first year doing it with them. Obviously, I've done it in California for some years, but I took some time off. But, with me building the gym, the gym is right outside this window. I could see where they're building it right now. Just building the gym and everything. It made sense for me to get back into coaching 7-on-7 and to kind of draw more attention to what it is I'm doing with the facility and everything like that. So it was, there's two parts to it. One, just a business move, but two, I needed to be back in that action of being able to, travel with the kids and all that, have that impact.
This is obviously someone who listens to the show. Croc, what was your completions allowed over expectation?
I guess one, since I only give up one catch.
Yeah, I would have expected 0. So yeah, 1 is the answer to that.
Yeah. He got me. He got me doing all that crazy stuff, man. It was a whip route. Like I see him. That's the guy. That was their guy, and they wanted to get him the ball, but they just couldn't early on. I was on stuff, or if we were in zone, I was reading down concepts right. But eventually they got me.
John Chapman says, love the show, guys. This is awesome. John Chapman's been doing YouTube for a while now. John, tell us what it's like being recognized at the grocery store. Because now like Wink's face and my face, and everybody knows what Croc looks like. I'm sure he gets recognized at the grocery store all the time, but I've always liked my anonymity doing audio only. I'm a little bit worried now that people are going to be mobbing me on the streets now that Locked On 49ers is live here. Croc, do you ever get recognized on the streets?
No, not for podcasting. I have
had recognized for.
Oh, so I was in the they have this store called Atwood's, and it's basically like an outdoor kind of store or whatever. And this guy was like, "Hey, did you go to UAM some years ago? Did you used to have dreads?" And I was like, "Yeah." He was like, "Oh man, I remember you out there, number 15." So like, I mean, that's happened a couple times. And then some girls have recognized me. And I'm like, I don't remember you. I don't know why. So there's been that because, I'm in a small town. So, somebody coming from out of state, people recognize me more than I remember all these people I met, 10 years ago when I was in college, especially the girls, because that was so, yeah. Wow. And now I'm like old, bald. I wear glasses. I'm like washed, but somehow some people still recognize me.
Yeah. How do they recognize your washed up ass out on the streets, man? That's crazy.
I don't know. That's a great question. Actually, I got hit on. I meant to tell my wife too, because I always like when I get hit on. I tell my wife, like, I still got it,
Mm-hmm.
I got hit on Buffalo Wild Wings today. I watched the game at Buffalo Wild Wings, so I was able to watch the 49ers game. I saw the Vikings-Packers game going on, and the waitress comes up to me and she's like, this is really, awkward, but I just want to know, are you single? And I'm like, yeah, I'm married. It'll be 6 years in 2 days. So, but yeah, it still feels good though that somebody hit on me. It's been a while.
A lot of callbacks here. Nick says Croc gets recognized from his kicking form, especially when his Croc that isn't in sport mode goes flying. I can't believe we haven't gotten an Eric Crocker Crocs shoes sponsorship yet. We got to get that going here.
I need that.
Especially now that we're live on YouTube.
There you go.
All right. Where are my Crocs? Usually they're near me. I don't have them.
All right.
I thought you were going to say, Croc, I thought you were going to say you get recognized from the films you made in college.
Nope, not those.
That phone footage is pretty grainy these days.
Oh man,
back when Croc was at college, wearing number 15. Sermon got some run. It was nice to see. Wink, were you impressed with Trey Sermon? And I love that throw from Jimmy G over the top, giving a little lob. A couple of those throws where and then one to Sermon.
Beautiful.
It was like a golf flop shot over the sand trap, right? Those aren't easy. It looks easy because it's a shorter throw, but some beautiful touch there from Jimmy G and a nice little catch over the shoulder from Sermon.
Yeah, everybody's going to remember like the one that Jimmy missed in the end zone, right? Where he was wide open. But yeah, he had some nice touch on a few passes. But I think that, Sermon looked all right. Wilson looked all right. I think one of the biggest winners in that backfield today was Elijah Mitchell just not being there because those guys, they were getting positive yards, but what did Wilson average? Like 2.4 yards a carry or something, and then 3 yards for Sermon. So, Elijah Mitchell, when he's healthy, he's definitely got that backfield locked up.
Mitchell, that's been Mitchell's thing. Like, if you actually look at his yards per carry, it's not good, like throughout his career. But he runs hard, and every once in a while, he has like a really nice game, but he's not, I think like what people think about Wilson, like in theory, it doesn't match up with the numbers.
Yeah, Wilson Wilson has that thing, when you hear scouts talk about powerful hips.
Yeah.
Like Wilson has that. He can create so much force in 2 yards, but it's almost like he looks for too much contact in a way. But yeah, Wilson's yards per carry throughout his career has never been great. And let's see. Hold on. Let's see if we can find what we got. So Elijah Mitchell this year is 4.8 yards per carry. Trey Sermon coming into the game was 4.4 yards per carry. And then on Sunday, Wilson was 92.5 yards per carry. He was 19 carries for 50 yards, and then Sermon was 10 carries for 32 yards. By the way, Croc, you were close, and you had it at halftime because I asked you earlier this week if who would lead in carries. Would it be Deebo Samuel or Trey Sermon? You said Deebo. Deebo had 8 carries. Sermon had 10 carries because of those garbage time carries at the end of the game, but it was Deebo leading the way before that.
Hey, I have a bone to pick with fans and Kyle Shanahan. So I was critical of Kyle Shanahan before the half. Forgot to mention this on the show, but his clock management, to me, it was just really weird. Like with how he, let so much time run down, even like 3rd and 1. And I get it. You don't want to give the other team a chance to get the ball back, but just the way he did it and using the timeouts and I thought it was terrible clock management. But the 49ers still at the end of the day got in field goal range. They kicked the field goal. And a lot of people are like, well, you said it was bad, but they still ended up scoring. And I'm like, they scored because the Jaguars defense so bad and left the guy wide open on the wheel route. Like that wasn't, it's like that was more luck than just like skill. I mean, it was, you had no timeouts left. There was about 15 seconds. You weren't in scoring position. Like at that moment right there, that was not good clock management. But then you're just playing a sorry-ass Jags team that lets you get that open wheel route and be able to get out of bounds. Like, that was terrible from the Jags. So I'm giving the Jags sorry-ass defense more credit than I'm giving Kyle Shanahan on that. And if it was Kyle, I give Kyle his love. Like, if I thought, like, oh, this was great by Kyle, I'll give him his love. I always try to understand what he's doing, but some things it's like, I don't know. It's almost like he's second guessing himself a lot from like a confidence standpoint of like what he wants to do until he feels like if it goes wrong, I'm okay. I'm in a good spot because we're ahead.
On that note, I missed the beginning. Maybe you guys talked about it. How do you feel about the field goal at the end of that opening drive? I mean, do you feel like that was like they should have gone for it and like really went for it, early and really made a statement, or do you like going for the points?
I thought they should have gone for it. I thought they should have, like, it was insane because you still had an opportunity to even get a first down and not even score. And what's the downside of it? The downside is, now they're, with their rookie quarterback, they're, out of their own end zone. They're backed up to their goal line. That's not that big of a deal to me. And in all likelihood, you're going to have really good field position, get the ball back again. And, you can go get a first down and kick a field goal at that point if you really need to get a field goal, that badly. So I thought that was a terrible decision. Later on in the game, then Kyle was more aggressive and went for it, and he got a touchdown out of it. So I didn't really understand. And at that point, maybe that would have made more sense to kick a field goal then. So in the end,
just get the points.
It worked out, but he did the opposite thing. It didn't make any sense to me. I thought that was. Yeah, I thought that was a bad
He said
call.
He talked himself out of it. Mm-hmm. That's what he said. He was like, after the game, he said it. Like, he wanted to go for it, then they called timeout. Then he was like, oh, no, like, just, I guess, be more conservative. It's crazy, though. At the same time, I'd say about 5 minutes later, the New York Jets were in that same situation, and LaFleur went for it and scored a touchdown. It was a 4th and goal from the 2-yard line.
How demoralizing, though, if you go for it and you don't get it, after a 20-play drive.
Well, my thing is, if you don't get it, I think everybody understands. Like Trey Lance on the 1-yard line when he got stuffed. I think everybody understood, like, okay, like you go for it. Like, you put your nuts on the table right here, you go for it and see what happens. I was looking at it from the standpoint of you go for it, you had this long drive, like make them pay, put your foot on their neck and demoralize them. But if you don't get it, then you're forcing a rookie quarterback to have to drive 97 yards to score a touchdown, which I think is highly unlikely with who the Jags are.
Yep. Trust your offense, trust your defense. And even the downside is not that bad because now a rookie quarterback's out of his own end zone trying to make plays, and you're going to get the ball back anyway. And really, I think the upside is way bigger than the downside there. So I didn't like it. And I think, to be honest with you, the Jaguars look at it as a win. You had a 20-yard drive and they stopped you on 3rd down, and now you're kicking a field goal. They're like, that's awesome. Like,
it's going to get overshadowed.
Drive with the other team thinking that they got a victory out of it.
It's going to get overshadowed because the 49ers still dominated them. But those are just things that I make mental notes of because, again, I don't look at the Jags as like the standard. I'm looking at that like, all right, if it's Minnesota next week and there's going to be a dogfight, like in that type of game where you are like, we're just riding it down your throat. We're driving 18-minute drive or whatever it is, 20 plays, and we're going for it on 4th and 1, and we're going to get into the end zone, like impose your will on these teams and demoralize them. And I just thought, he's had some opportunities to do that early on. He's like, no, I'm going to shy away from it. Then later, when it's like, well, we're ahead now, so let me just go ahead and see what happens. And then it happens the way that you want it to happen. But against a good team, you're going to need that extra early on. So great win, and good job by Kyle Shanahan overall in those games. But those are just things I just pay attention to.
A little bit worrisome. There's been some game management stuff that I have definitely thought that Kyle Shanahan missed on, and that could come to haunt him in a close game. It turned out it didn't matter what they did in this game because they were better, and the Jaguars were shooting themselves in the foot. And yeah, that's the other thing that kind of disappointed me about it. Wouldn't have been way cooler if not only did they not get in the end zone on the next play, but they got the first down, so they got a whole new set of downs. They would have erased the entire first quarter and gone into the second quarter on the same drive. That would have been pretty cool. Like it just annihilate the entire first quarter on one drive. That'd have been awesome. There was a question about, here it is from Nick. Did every rookie play? No, not every rookie, because some undrafted players didn't play, and Elijah Mitchell was hurt, so he didn't play. But every draft pick aside from Elijah Mitchell played. How about this one, Croc? Fred Warner led the team in tackles with 7. Jimmy Ward was second on the 49ers defense with tackles. Who do you think was third? Wink, you got a guess?
Ambry Thomas.
Yep, you nailed it. Ambry Thomas came in there. Boom, boom, boom. 3 in a row. I think they went to the slot on the left, then came back to him. I think it was 4 out of 5 plays, and then hit another one. Ambry Thomas with 4 tackles was tied with K'Wan Williams for third on the team in tackles, and he didn't show up on the field until 5 minutes left in the fourth quarter.
Well, it's because they targeted him. Yeah, they're like, go after the rookie. Go.
That's why everybody looks at tackles for a cornerback, and they're like, oh, like he got this. And I'm like, I don't think you're a corner. You want a lot of tackles.
Right.
No, that's what sucks about IDP fantasy football leagues, is if you have a corner and he's making a lot of tackles, he's a trash corner. If you have a good shutdown corner, nobody's targeting him, so he doesn't get any points.
What you drinking on over there, Peacock?
I mentioned it earlier on for those folks who were just showing up. I'm living in Davis, California these days, but I'm selling my house, going back to San Francisco, so I won't be here for very long. But made a little trip to West Sac. The Bike Dog got a 0-sum pale ale. It's refreshing. It's a delicious beer. That's what I'm sipping on tonight. Wink, were you impressed by Jauan Jennings' almost psychotic level of not fighting back and the other team getting the penalty? Was it Rayshon Jenkins getting kicked out of the game? And Jauan Jennings, do you see by the way, it wasn't even like, hey, good job. It was like a shoulder bump from Kyle Shanahan after the play. He was so excited about Jauan Jennings getting in a scrap and getting the other guy kicked out. Like, I get the feeling that Shanahan wouldn't even have cared if Jennings got kicked out. He was like psyched these guys were ready to fight.
I think maybe that was why he was giving him the love. Is like, way to not fight back, man. Way to not lose your cool after you got punched and you got the other guy kicked out. Like, it kind of reminded me a little bit of myself, because I'm a big trash talker, but I'm like in the nicest possible way. I talk trash like, oh, good effort. That was such a good try on your part. Like, I'm not going to say anything bad about him or bad words or anything, but I'm going to definitely talk trash. And maybe he was just like, being super psyched and pumped and got the best of him. And that was a big play in the game, I think, really. I mean, it was already a trash defense, and then you lose your starting safety that early in the game. That's big.
It was huge. And even more than, I don't know if the scoreboard 30-10 really tells the whole story. The Jaguars were mentally gone. Yeah. Like it felt like they were if I was the owner of the Jaguars and saw that game, I would seriously think about firing my head coach before the next football game, right? Like Urban Meyer, I don't know how you survive something like that. You're out prepared. Your players are like fighting on the field, penalties galore, just everything that they did wrong. It wasn't even so much about talent. You could point to the coaching staff there. Like, I don't know, Croc, don't you think that that Urban Meyer is not going to be long for the NFL in the Jacksonville Jaguars, I got the feeling that he was just so far out coached and just out of his element as the head man for the Jaguars. That was pathetic by the Jaguars Sunday.
Yeah, I agree. It feels like a big time lack of effort from their team, just a lot of dysfunction going on. And it starts with Urban Meyer. It started with him hiring that like racist strength coach that got fired from the university. And then he hired him, then had to fire him the next day. And then just the Tim Tebow fiasco was just like, he's never going to make this team, but you signed him anyways because he was your college quarterback. And then what was it? He drafted Travis Etienne, which from a value standpoint made no sense. You have an undrafted rookie free agent that you're paying next to nothing, that just ran for over 1,000 yards. And then you go and draft Etienne first round, like just throwing out all the value. Then you're like, you know what? We're going to draft first round. But Etienne, I know you never played receiver before, but we're going to play you at receiver. And then Etienne gets hurt. He's done for the year. There's just been a lot of really weird things. And, it starts with him. It sounds like, there were some rumblings that he had already lost the locker room. I think he might be out of there quicker than Saban was out of Miami.
Well, did you see Trevor Lawrence at the end of the game kind of go over and put his arm around him, Urban Meyer, on the sideline? It was kind of like, oh, it's going to be all right, man. Don't worry. It's going to be all right. Like, I'll still be here next year. You're going to be all right. Don't worry.
Was it more of him protecting his head coach?
Yeah, he like walked over with helmet off and like had his arm around him and was smiling and kind of nodding at him. I don't know if he was reassuring him. Like, it's going to be all right, man. It's like, you shouldn't be doing that to your head coach. It should be the other way around.
I feel like where Urban Meyer went wrong is he hired Trent Balkey as his general manager, right? Like, what the hell are you thinking, man?
How'd that guy ever get another job?
Trent Balkey gets a terrible rap, and he deserves a terrible rap. He was not good, but it's pretty crazy to see Eric Armstead and Jimmy Ward. Like, Croc and I were talking last week about Jimmy Ward, and I was like, man, what year was that? 2016? It's 2014. Jimmy Ward's been around for a long time. Like, those guys turned out to be pretty darn good draft picks in Eric Armstead and Jimmy Ward. And there was a time that they were both injured early in their careers. And it was right about the time that Balkey was getting fired and they hadn't done much for the 49ers. So at least those guys turned out okay. And they're two pretty important players and two captains on the 49ers roster. So he didn't get everything wrong, but he was pretty bad.
Hey, there's one thing that I want to talk about too on the next episode. And I have to look into it a little bit more to make sure, but I've been told that Tart obviously started the first half. It was Hufanga who started the second half. Now, again, I wasn't paying attention during the game. I was at Buffalo Wild Wings, a lot of things going on. But that's something I'm going to be looking forward to talking about tomorrow.
Yeah, he was out there a lot. I saw Hufanga a lot in the second half.
Yeah, because Tart was playing apparently he was practicing with the ones all week long. Even while Kyle Shanahan was talking about how it's not guaranteed that Tart's going to get his starting job back. Well, it's like, well, he would probably be not practicing with the ones if that's the case, coming back from injury, right? And then that's interesting. He started the game. Hufanga was out there a lot later than I noticed, and it's hard in a game like this because it's really easy to excuse that away and say, we let the other guy play, let the young guy play because the veteran's injured and the scoreboard says we should start playing the younger guys. So it's hard to look too much into it, but I did not notice that Hufanga might have started the second half. And look, Hufanga's been playing well and good. It's another late round pick, fifth round pick that's coming up roses for the 49ers scouting staff. They've done such a good job. I've always thought Tart was going to be gone anyway. And it's almost like once you're in that lame duck situation, you might as well play Hufanga, even though I don't think Hufanga is necessarily better than Tart right now. I wouldn't be shocked to see Hufanga play more.
He's the future, right?
Are y'all watching the Steelers-Chargers game?
No, I stopped paying attention to it. Is it getting good?
Well, I think Justin Herbert's been kind of dominant. But I'm watching the play right now, and you just see Herbert take off, right, for 10, 15 yards. It's third down. He just took off. And that right there, I've been talking a little bit about it, because we've seen a different level of efficiency from Jimmy Garoppolo. And I've always been, and I told you, I'm always looking would Trey Lance have made that throw, right? And I don't know if Trey Lance would have made that throw. But That's my Balkey.
That's rock solid. Croc's got a really good Balkey. I like that.
Yeah, I don't know if Trey would have made that throw, but Trey Lance, I think he would have just won that play a different way. And me watching Justin Herbert right now take off for 10, 15 yards, whatever it was on 3rd and 5, that's just that different element. Jimmy Garoppolo might stand in there and just complete a nice pass to somebody for 5 yards, get the first down. Mac Jones, same thing. Trey Lance, Justin Herbert, they might take off and pick up 10, 15 yards. And, you just win a different way. That's one thing I have to remember. Like these guys, they're what they do is just a little different.
All right. I think we're getting to the end of it here. We've been live for how long? I don't even know on this an hour 10. We've been live for an hour 10. I think that's a pretty solid amount. I don't want to bore anybody out there. I still see a ton of people out here chatting with us and hanging out, and I really appreciate everybody jumping on with us and saying hi. And I love seeing the live chat as we do the show, because we never have this live feedback when we record the pod. So this is pretty cool to see. And
hey, real quick, we got 40 people in here watching right now, but there's only 29 likes. So we need some of you guys go hit that like button. Yeah, hit that like button. That's going to help with the algorithm, help other people see. Oh man, Locked On 49ers has a YouTube channel now. So make sure you guys hit that like button for us.
Yeah, guys, you guys got to work on your YouTubing. You got to be like, yo, what's up, guys? Hey, this is Locked On 49ers. Hit the like, hit subscribe, tell your friends. There you go. You got to point at it. It's right here.
Justin Herbert, he did it again. Did he score this time? Oh, they call holding again. He took off again on 3rd down. And
I got to go just so I could go watch that.
It looked like he was about to score, but they call holding. And that's like the 3rd holding call I've seen on their offensive line just on this drive. And then he had a drop. That's terrible.
You're muted, B.
Sorry, I'm muted here. Croc, when you're looking at this game, you're looking at the Pittsburgh Steelers. Can you picture number 10, Jimmy G, taking snaps for that Pittsburgh Steelers offense next year?
In theory, the Steelers have been a team that pushes the ball down the field more, and that doesn't seem like that's Jimmy's best asset. So I think it's, again, Jimmy can throw the deep ball, but it's a comfortability thing. I think he has to get a little bit more comfortable with just like, I'm just going to let it rip. And he hasn't quite had that. And I think for the Steelers, with what they like to be, you have to have it. Now, again, Ben Roethlisberger right now, he ain't really letting it rip. So maybe you can get by without it. But I think ideally that's what they would like. And they have the receivers for that.
No, Aaron Rodgers is going to the Steelers next year.
Oh, so
that's my
what
prediction.
About that? Matt LaFleur taking on Jimmy G, and then still winning 13 games, 13-3 with Jimmy G to stick it to Kyle. I don't think Ryan that or no, wait, who was it? Richard. I don't think the 49ers are getting a 1st round pick for Jimmy Garoppolo. I think a 3rd. I think they'll get a 3rd. He's played good enough ball this year, but I just don't think they're going to get a lot for him. But I don't know, man. Hearing the announcers talking about Jimmy Garoppolo in 2022, Jed already said he's cool if Jimmy sticks around. Maybe we're going to be going through all this next year, week 11, week 10, talking about, oh man, maybe Trey Lance will play this week. I don't know if I can handle it. I don't know if my heart, I don't know if my brain can handle another year of this.
I don't see enough from Jimmy in the sense of like, I can't win without this, right? Like, if you look at the last 2 games that the 49ers have played where he's won, they've ran a combined 86 times. Whew. So to me, that doesn't say like he's the reason we're winning. So that's why we 100% need to have him back the following year. If he's been the one that's putting the 49ers on his shoulders and throwing the ball around and doing this and making all these plays, then I get it. Rookie, you got to sit. But that hasn't necessarily been the case.
Jimmy had that opportunity. He threw a ball outside the numbers. He threw it to the sideline, and I never see it. He got Deebo off the line. Deebo made a nice little move. I think the DB did a nice job of catching up, but Jimmy left it a little bit short. Do you remember that one, guys? Yeah. With the throw down the left sideline. Jimmy left it a little bit shorter than he should have, but I loved the release from Deebo on that route.
Yeah, terrific release from Deebo Samuel. Reminded me of his time at the Senior Bowl where he was whooping Rocky Ya-Sin off the line. I thought I thought two things here. One, yes, Jimmy Garoppolo could have led him, but the goal route is the lowest percentage pass a quarterback can attempt. So more times than not, it's the receiver having to make some sort of an adjustment on the go route. And so it's not typically just going to be like, oh, it's just perfect, drops in there right where you want it. Receiver's going to have to make some type of adjustment to it. And Deebo had the opportunity to do that. And he just kind of, it was weird. Like he like went up and like volleyballed it, right? Like, you know, how the setters, how they set the ball, you know, then somebody comes through and spikes it. That was what it looked like. Like he just like went up with like his hands like open like this, and I'm like, Deebo, you look real uncoordinated right there. So I don't think he helped. I don't think he helped Jimmy Garoppolo in that situation.
Well, I mean, in Deebo's defense, he's like, "What the hell's going on right now? I'm getting the ball deep down the sideline. This is not supposed to happen. I don't even know what to do." He's like, "Oh crap!"
Yeah.
All right, Joe. This isn't just any Jets jersey. For those of you who don't know what I'm wearing here, this is a 4-1 Jets jersey.
It's the Croc.
This is an Eric Crocker Jets jersey. This is Locked On 49ers, I know, but you know, ride or die with Crocky over here, okay?
That's right, ride or die. That's my dog. I'm gonna have to get a Brian Peacock jersey, your softball jersey or something. We're gonna do a jersey swap.
Eric Crocker, always around. All in that time, made a great catch.
Yeah, it's gonna be harder for you to find a Peacock jersey than it was for me to find a Croc jersey. I had to get this one custom. You're gonna have to go custom for sure, but I don't think there's a website that makes custom Peacock jerseys.
There's a picture.
The season's over. I want to let you know you would have been proud, Crocky. I went deep twice in a row, back-to-back ABs in the final game of the season. Only problem is in the Davis Softball League, and where's the camera? I'm talking to you, Davis Softball League. You got to change the rules. You got to let us hit home runs. 2 home runs, 2 outs. You're not allowed to hit the ball out of the ballpark.
What?
Yeah.
Wow.
In the league I was playing in, guys were smashing that ball, man. Boom. Like, oh my goodness. I couldn't do it. I don't know if I just don't have enough power. I'm not bringing my hips through enough. I got some good shots. Got some to the warning track.
Launch angle.
So I said, you know what? I got to turn into Crocky Lofton. All right. I'm Kenny Lofton all the way. I just need to get on base and try to get still a double out of it.
Yeah, it's tough because this league, it's like they're trying to suppress power, you know, only metal bats, no balls over the fence. In some leagues I play, it's the opposite. It's like outlaw. You're playing crazy composite bats. Guys are hitting the ball out like crazy. If you hit a home run, you don't even run the bases. You just walk back to the dugout. You get the credit on the scoreboard, but you don't even run the bases. So it's really wild to see how different softball leagues are sometimes. But Croc, you got to muscle up, dude. You got to be you got to go yard like your boy Peacock does. Okay. I don't like this loft stuff. I want some Barry Bonds type power. Talking about Giants lefty outfielders. All right. Crocky Strawberry. Yeah, Daryl Strawberry. It's a good callback there.
Oh, we're bald headed.
Swing.
I'm bald headed like him. So we have that in common. But Strawberry had some other things going on. So you know.
As did most of those 86 Mets.
That's your problem, Croc. You got to get coked up, then you go out there and hit the ball.
There it is.
We'll get past the warning track.
Coca-Cola, baby.
Yeah, man. He has Strawberry has some other things going on, man. I don't know if I can get down with that.
All right. Should we get out of here? Anything else you guys want to touch on? Wink, anything else you're stinking on here?
Hey, they didn't get use check the ball enough. It's ridiculous.
What? Can't believe it.
Yeah, that's tough.
To get that guy involved. No, it was a great game all the way around. Offense, defense. Special teams, can Trent Cannon stop returning kicks? Give me a heart attack every time he touches the ball.
Yeah, what was worse? Deebo's attempt at the deep ball down the sideline or Trent Cannon, his attempt returning the kickoff? That was the opening kickoff, right?
Yeah. I was like, oh, no.
That's cool. You want to start a football game.
Here we go again.
Acting like they're surprised that a ball's traveling towards their face. Like, holy crap, what is this?
Yeah, it was bad.
All right, let's get out of here. Thanks, everybody, for joining us on our first ever Locked On 49ers live podcast. We got Nick Winkler down there on the corner making a special appearance, not on a Wednesday. He'll be joining us every Wednesday as he does on another Winky Wednesday. Eric Crocker, Brian Peacock, thanks for making us your first listen every day right here. Locked On 49ers.